What does this donuts do, and how long have you run the business?
The business has been going for about 4 years now. So we started originally from home. So I actually started in my mum's house in her kitchen during COVID and lockdown. I was never really into baking as such. And I was really passionate for business in general, but I didn't really know how to start a business. You get all those skills in school, so it was hard to translate.
What did you do before starting this donuts?
So before Decent Donuts, I actually worked for a couple of companies. So I worked for Hugo Boss, I worked for Ralph Lauren, and I also worked for John Lewis in the city centre. I have done corporate stuff before, and I have worked for other businesses. And I'll tell you now that working for yourself is always the most rewarding thing.
Good morning. My name is Richard Layton. I'm the entrepreneur in residence within the Brett Centre for Entrepreneurship. That's part of the University of Liverpool Management School. We're here this morning in King's Leadership Academy, Hawthorne's in Bootle, for the fourth episode of the Kids Interview Entrepreneurs podcast. We're here with Anthony Polanowski that runs Decent Donuts, and we have Hara and Khalid asking the questions. Thank you to Mrs. Hagan, the careers manager within the school, and Jay for supporting us to put all this together. And then we'll hand it over now for the first question.
What does this donuts do, and how long have you run the business?
The business has been going for about 4 years now. So we started originally from home. So I actually started in my mum's house in her kitchen during COVID and lockdown. I was never really into baking as such, and I never really had a passion. Stereotypically, men aren't really, don't follow the stereotypes of baking as such. So it was a bit of a wild one to get into. But yeah, we started from home, started through social media, in the likes of Instagram and stuff. And it was just delivery based. So we would drop them off at people's homes during COVID time. And then roll on 4 years now, we have a little premises and we're still going really strong across social media. So yeah, it's been key for us.
Why did you decide to set up a Decent Donut as observe to another type of business?
I think we all like sweet treats, we all like donuts, we all like cookies, we all like cookie dough, we all like brownies and such. So I think it was just something I was passionate about, food in general. It's a bit of an anchor, and I feel like food brings people together, whether you're going out for a meal, whether you're having a takeaway at home or something like that. Food is sort of like that middle piece that anchors everyone together. So it's nice to have a business, and also, we all have our five senses, so touch, taste, smell and all that. So food is probably a passion of mine.
What were you like in secondary school, and were you improvising as a student?
Secondary school was up and down for me, to be honest. I was really passionate for business in general, but I didn't really know how to start a business. I don't really think that you get all those skills in school, so it was hard to translate. You probably read a lot of textbooks and follow programs and stuff, but the real world can sometimes differ, especially in like challenges and different people and stuff. So I think I always had that spark, but we just didn't have the right facilities in place or programs to really push that and pull that out of me. So as much as I did like school, I feel like it is just a foundation, and it's sort of down to yourself to apply yourself, to push yourself further in terms of your own business, because there's no book as such that is going to tell you the right and wrong of doing a business. You've just sort of got to make those mistakes yourself. So yeah, school was definitely a good foundation point, but yeah, I feel like the real world is quite different to it, but it was definitely a learning curve. Yeah.
What were your favorite subject, and what did you like best about skills?
Favorite subjects? Ooh, I would probably say none, if I'm honest. So if I could pick no subjects, that I'd go for that. But business and IT was definitely up there, as well as maths. I feel like they're all sort of business linked, especially obviously doing business and IT going forward, like social media and Instagram and all that is sort of how the world's run. So I had a little passion for that, and that was quite useful. But in terms of more academic subjects like your English and your sciences, they were probably my least favourite.
What could school have taught you, encourage you, or support you and others into business more?
I think it's important that schools listen to pupils and, how you're feeling, or in terms of what you want to do. So I feel like one subject doesn't fit all and one shoe doesn't fit all. For example, we're all different people and we've got different requirements. So I feel like a school would benefit from listening to pupils a little bit more and taking that time. Obviously, schools can be restricted in different avenues, but listening to pupils and, giving them the time to talk about their ideas and explore any avenues that they could support them, because schools are really, really important asset, even in businesses and stuff all the way down. We always cross over sort of thing. So yeah, just listening, I would say, from a school perspective.
Did you go to a sixth form and university after studying your GCSE, and how did that help you develop your enterprise skills?
I actually went to school about 10 minutes from here. It was called Holy Family. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of it, in Thornton, sort of Crosby, Thornton area. So yeah, I went to school and then I went to sixth form there as well, and that's where I studied business and ICT. I did go to the University of Liverpool as well to do business management, but I actually took a 3-year break after sixth form. So I done my A-levels and stuff, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So rather than to rush into university, I took about it was 2 or 3 years, and then I studied business when I sort of knew what I wanted to do. So I think that's an important key. Don't rush into university just for the sake of it, because now what I've harnessed from university is so many opportunities, and it's given me so many, I don't know, grants, funds and support and all that stuff to push my business forward. Whereas if I rushed into it, I don't think I would have been in the same mindset, and maybe I was a little bit young, or I just didn't really know what I wanted to do. So it's okay to feel that if you're a little bit unsure, because things will work out, whether it be 6 months, 3, 4 years, something will always come your way. But yeah, I went from only 10 minutes around the corner.
What did you do before starting this donut? Did you work for anyone else or run any other businesses, and what did you learn?
So before Decent Donuts, I actually worked for a couple of companies. So I worked for Hugo Boss, I worked for Ralph Lauren, and I also worked for John Lewis in the city centre. And I done a little corporate role. I was at John Lewis the longest, and I used to travel to London quite a lot and back and forth, and it was quite a good job. I was sort of like the middleman between head office and the shop in Liverpool. So I was going back and forth. I was traveling quite a lot, and that was more of a corporate role. And then obviously when COVID hit, it changed the world, a little bit, and that's when the business sort of stemmed, as I was saying before, from home and stuff. So yeah, I have done corporate stuff before, and I have worked for other businesses, and I'll tell you now that working for yourself is always the most rewarding thing. Even if you do work more hours, you might be on less pay, you might be on more pay, but the opportunities and the people that you get to meet doing it for yourself and knowing that that's your business doesn't come close to anything that you get from a corporate role.
What's the best advice that you can give to the student that looking to start a business at school?
So advice for students in this room, I would say don't be shy. I was always the shyest kid in school. I would never talk. I would never put my hand up. It wasn't cool to answer the question first and all that. And it was still like that now. If you're too smart, it's not cool. If you're not as intelligent, it's not cool. Forget about all that, because the real world is only around the corner for students, and it comes quicker than you know. And I always thought, I'm never going to be in that position. I'm always going to be shielded. I'm going to be in the school bubble and stuff. But as soon as you leave that world into the real world, you're going to have to start fending for yourself, and you're going to be meeting with businesses, corporate clients, it becomes such a professional setting. So I would just say, make the most of your school time, and forget about what other students or people think, because as soon as you leave those doors, you're probably not going to speak to a lot of people again, never mind see them again. So why would you value their opinion over something that's going to benefit you, your life, your friends, your family and stuff. So I would say stop being shy pretty much, and just engage in what the school offers for you, because you're not going to have those opportunities in life all the time. So while it's there, take it, because it's not always going to be there.
What are the plans for this and donuts in the future? And do you believe you'll set up any more businesses?
The future for my business is going to go online. So we're launching a website very soon. We obviously baked stuff is bit of a niche market, whether you're going to get some cookies through your door or some brownies delivered to your door. And we have a big demand for that. So we're working on a website, and then hopefully we're going to move to a bigger facility to cope with that increased demand. We're also working with some big brands. They're still in the talks a little bit, so I can't mention what brands, but hopefully some big orders coming our way. And hopefully, yeah, just making a bigger space and making it more accessible to people. So if you can't make it to our store, we can deliver to you. You can order it for somebody else across the country and stuff. So yeah, just growing in different ways, which is nice.
Were you a secondary school student again now? What type of business would you look to start and why?
If I was a student again, in terms of business, I would create something that solves a problem or that makes people happy. So I think the biggest, we all seek for the next thing, and we're always looking for a new idea, the new shoes, new clothes, new cars, or whatever avenue it is. But I think if you're going to solve a problem, that is a business in itself, whether it be helping people, whether it be, solving hunger, cleanliness, hygiene, food, anything at all. If you're solving a problem, then there's business there. I would say, yeah, it's something that solves a problem.
We're all done. Awesome. That's some really great answers. So what we'll do is we'll open it up to the audience. We've obviously got the year 10 business studies students here. Hopefully some of those might answer some questions, and we've also got Sir and Miss as well. I'll ask the initial question. I know you're obviously a commercial business, but you do a lot for the community, especially around things like sort of mental health. So yeah, it'd be nice to for you to tell the others some of the initiatives that you do to give back as a business to the community.
Yeah, I think it's important for me, especially, to always give back where possible, because our customers are like family to us now, and strangers on the internet will support you more than your friends and family a lot of the time. And the reality of that is that that's amazing that customers become friends and family to you, even though ultimately we are a business. So I think it's important to give back in ways, and we like to support charities such as Sean's Place that supports men's mental health with their Merseyside. We also host things like Macmillan coffee mornings and stuff, or we sort of do like pay as you feel, where people are welcome to come into our shop, pay whatever amount they want, order whatever they like, whether that be, 50 pence or £50, and all of that money is donated to support those good causes. We also have quite good links to the hospital, so the likes of Alder Children's Hospital and the Royal, and especially sort of any surplus stock or any opportunities we get to work with them that we can support, whether they're putting a smile on someone's face, whether it's, a cake and a coffee. I think it's about bringing people together and trying to give back always where possible, which is important for us. So yeah, I think just, even though we're just doing cakes and stuff, it's nice to look after your community as well.
Yeah, that's really cool. So have we got any questions from anyone in the audience? Or yes, we've got a question. Awesome. I'll just come with a microphone so we can pick your question up.
How long did it take you to start gaining popularity?
It's a good question, to be honest. So in terms of popularity, I think a lot of people launch a business or you start your own thing and you're expecting the orders to roll in, and it's quite disheartening when you put all this effort, sometimes money, sometimes you get people involved, and it doesn't really give you the reaction that you expect. So for us, we did have quite a good demand at the start, I think, because we were lucky in terms of it was COVID and there wasn't a lot to do, so people weren't going out and stuff, and people were pretty much just staying in the house, either, drinking, eating sort of thing. So, but straight away, it took us a little while to build up a clientele. So we didn't just start overnight. It's been, thousands of pounds worth of marketing, what people don't see. And, people see some posts that go viral. And, if you're lucky enough, make a TikTok, make an Instagram that goes viral, then that's done it for you. But we didn't really have that luck, especially in the start. So it was just a lot of hard work and consistency. So I would say, a good 6 months before I would even call it a business and such. And even now, we still have quiet days, and we have days that we sell out in, I don't know, 30 minutes and stuff. So I would say a good 6 months, and I think that's important to just keep with whatever you're doing. And, it's so easy to give up, especially in the early days, but just keep going. But yeah, for us, it was a good few months. Oh yeah, good question, right?
Any other questions off pupils, or should we go to Sir? Give me 2 secs. I'll just come over here.
So in terms of deciding on the flavours,
Yeah.
who decides on the actual flavours of the products?
That's a good question as well. So it's important to understand who your customers are and what their needs and wants are. So, for example, I would probably eat what a lot of people wouldn't go for in terms of flavours. So I would go for classics like Cherry Bakewell and Victoria Sponge, and probably, especially your age, I probably wouldn't have gone for them, and my taste buds have probably matured a little bit. But we cater to what our customers want and what are popular. So in terms of stuff like Kinder Bueno, that brand's already massively established, so that does a job for us in a way, by also collaborating almost, by using those chocolates that were already familiar, that are already on every supermarket shelf. We're surrounded by advertisements, so people already know that they like Kinder Bueno, they like mini eggs and stuff. So you've already sort of done that initial interaction with them. So I would say, and also what we like, so we wouldn't deliver something that we don't like necessarily. We've got to back the product, that's important too. But yeah, flavours are quite seasonal too, so as we come into Easter and stuff, that's important to, bear in mind your environment, whether it be in Christmas time or there's any celebrations going on and stuff. But yeah, just what customers want, what's popular, is pretty much how we determine it.
Miss has got a question. I'll just come around the back.
Thanks, Richard. Anthony, so you talked about challenges, and at school, students perhaps don't realise the challenges that are there when setting up business. Can you just give us some idea about challenges that you've had to face?
Definitely. I think challenges are a part of any business, so don't see them as an obstacle, like really see them as a learning curve. And sometimes we can get frustrated, and I'll be honest, this morning, so we're actually in a government building today doing a pop-up bakery, and as somebody lifted a tray of donuts out of the vehicle, the whole tray tipped upside down, and I could have let that get to me, and it's so easy to react. And we've been working long, and that was literally only maybe an hour and a half ago. So that's an obstacle and a challenge already, that, there's profit on the floor. People have just watched us drop these donuts. It's humiliating. It's embarrassing. Things are not smooth sailing. If you look at our Instagram, yeah, we've got X amount of followers and these pictures look amazing, but behind the scene, and it's the same with every business, it just doesn't get spoken about enough. So challenges are going to come every single day. I think in the beginning, it was more about not giving up and balancing. So I was running the business while I was a university student. I was looking after one of my parents. I was working a part-time role. I was doing so much, and the business was still taking off. So I think for me, the challenge was finding that balance of, where does it sit? What can this offer for me? And it did offer me flexibility, so I could also spend time doing other stuff too. But yeah, challenges are pretty much everyday cost. And I don't know if you know much about the chocolate industry. If anyone's seen a Kinder Bueno now, they're probably about 90p a pound or something. Back in, a few years, they were probably about 40p. So inflation, cost, and every day, we're humans, we do make mistakes, and it's okay to embrace that we're not perfect. The way we speak, the way we act, it's just accepting that that challenges are going to come, and it's not going to be, there's no black and white book in terms of laying out the rules for us. So I think just being aware that challenges are going to come whatever you do, and challenges do happen to us pretty much every day. But yeah, it's just about trying to mitigate, and it's how we react to them and putting yourself in that other person's shoes. So if a customer's order, for example, is they're not happy or it's gone wrong, flip it. How would you feel, and what would you like to receive in that situation, or how can we go above those expectations to sort of make it a full circle that you was disappointed and now we've exceeded expectations up there. So I think, yeah, quite a lot of challenges and still going. But yeah,
Yeah, there's quite a lot of challenges there. I've always loved the idea of having a food-based business, but yeah, one of the main things that's probably I'm most reluctant about is, like you said, if you actually provide a product to someone and they're not happy for some reason, sort of dealing with that situation and resolving it, and yeah, that's probably the most scary thing to deal with me sort of personally. But I guess as you go through more things, experience more instances and challenges, you get that experience to be more comfortable and confident to handle those situations. Any other questions at all from anyone? Yeah, 2 seconds. I'll just come back over again.
Obviously, you're in a really competitive marketplace. What's your USP? Why should we buy our donuts from you and not the place down the road?
It's a good question, to be honest. So food is very competitive, and I think any market now is quite saturated. For us, in terms of USB, is that it's baked on site, so it's as fresh as it can get. It's not sitting in no lorries or vans or whatever. If we're talking about bigger competitors, so the big guys that do the donuts that are sitting in Tesco, like the likes of Dunkin' Donuts, Krispy Kreme, they are all frozen. So when they go into the stores, they're defrosting in the van sort of thing. So that's not the case for us. So we don't use any freezers. We don't, obviously it's all fresh on site. Our flavors also change every single day. So if you was to come into our shop, 5 times in 1 week, there's always going to be a new product or a new flavor on there that you've not seen as such. So I think we're quite reactive in terms of flavors and keeping it fresh for our customers, because we know if you like something, you're not necessarily going to go back for that product. There's only so many times you can order a Domino's and you get a little bit sick of it. So how can we still keep engaged with that customer and keeping it fresh? So I'd say USB is definitely our freshness and quality, what the big guys can't offer. In terms of the smaller competitors, so you'll see people making cakes and stuff from home. It's more about our branding and getting ourselves out there. We're quite powerful on social media, so having that marketing to go alongside the products. It's no good having a good product if you can't get it out there. You could have the best cake in the world. There's probably bakers out there that are 5 times better than us. There's probably ones that are worse. But if you can't get your product in front of the right customer, then you're never going to sell it. So I think it's a little bit of a combination, but I'd say definitely the flavors and the quality for us is our USP.
And I promise this is the last question. What are your plans for the future?
Future, I think it's important not to put all your eggs in one basket in terms of your future, because we don't know what's around the corner. And I think it's really important to understand what's important to you. And people always ask, what makes you happy and what's your biggest achievement? And I always reinforce your health and, your wellness and your mental well-being and stuff. So for me, that is always a priority. Now, I think it's important. We all focus sometimes maybe on the wrong things, and, we've got to pay bills. We understand that, but ultimately, where does that leave you? And especially when a business, a lot of the things fall on my head. So it's important that I look after myself. So I would say going forward, I'm going to probably prioritize myself a little bit, as selfish as that sounds. But from a business, I think that's going to help the business grow. In terms of growth that I mentioned previously about launching a website and stuff. So that's either going to go, amazing for us, or it might go mediocre, or it might go really, bad sort of thing. We won't know until we do it. So you have focus on going online a little bit more, because I feel like there's a lot, there's a bigger market for that, especially if you're selling something on a website as opposed to a shop. There's only so much of a radius you can sort of capture. So yeah, trying to go a little bit digital in a bakery, if that makes sense, sort of the future of it.
Yes, thank you.
No problem.
I think that's a really good point to make, and especially for myself personally, in the last 6 months I've focused on, I'm sort of going to the gym at least a couple of hours, sort of 5 times and sort of before that, I suppose I was sort of neglecting that. But actually, as you start to get a bit older, as you get more pressures, responsibilities, you can get kind of tired. You need sort of more headspace, and being physically active, actually, although it takes time away, I sort of feel like it makes you more concentrated, gives you more energy, and it means that you can do sort of you can be more productive within the time and that you have as well. I would also say, in terms of USPs, Anthony has literally the best hot chocolate I've ever tried in my life, and I would put myself down to being like a proper hot chocolate connoisseur. I melt chocolate into it. Like, I didn't realize hot chocolates could taste like that. So literally every time I've had a hot chocolate since, I'm just like mega disappointed. And I literally say to the person behind the till, I was like, just this, not like Anthony's a decent donuts hot chocolate. Should we go there? They're like, try that out. So we got another question.
What are you hoping to achieve by, like, what's your end goal of the business?
In terms of an end goal, it's quite a good broad question. It opens up quite a lot of doors, to be honest. I think because I started the business with no goal, so I didn't intend to necessarily go into this type of business. It wasn't like I had a 5-year plan. It wasn't like I've always grew up wanting to bake or have an own bakery. So I think the goal changes, and that's okay. I would say, obviously linking back to a little bit what we spoke about, prioritizing yourself and giving us that flexibility to, I want to go and travel. I want to go on holiday every other month or whatever I'm able to do. But I'd say from an end goal, I would say just to be happy and to, ultimately have a nice house, a nice roof over your head and look after the people around you, as well as being able to, hopefully support the community, whether that be charities and stuff. So just doing what we do, but just on a bigger scale and hopefully bigger and better, really. That's all we can hope for. Again, the goal might change, and ask me in 6 months and it might be a whole new business. It might be something else, but that's okay to change it. I've slowly realised that, when we fixate on something and we don't achieve it, that's where the disappointment comes. So being a little bit easier on yourself is okay as well. But yeah, good question.
So we have a couple of closing traditions on the Kids Interview Entrepreneur and podcast. So the first one is we're going to Simon Squib you and ask you, what's your dream?
My dream probably is a bit of a cliche, but ultimately is just to be happy and healthy, especially for the people around me. From a business, it would be to, continue, spreading positivity and encouraging others to really take that leap, that you don't have to have, X amount of money in the bank. You don't have to be from a certain background. You don't have to be educated at a particular level, but you can achieve whatever you set your mind to. So I would say, yeah, just keep doing what we do and hopefully others will follow. And hopefully, my own personal businesses continue to be successful. That's all we can hope for.
That's a really good dream. Second closing tradition. So we're going to Steve Bartley now, Diary of a CEO. So if, do you want to grab one of the boxes of cards and then open it up and then allow Anthony to choose a card out of it and then answer the question at random, whatever it is.
Shall we go for one in the middle?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So what's the question?
It's not business related, unfortunately.
Yeah.
How many times have you properly been in love? Piers Morgan.
There we go.
How many times have I been in love? Because I'd probably say none in terms of romantically.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I'm 26, there's no sort of script to follow. I think happiness comes in any other avenue you allow it to be.
Yeah.
But who knows for the future?
Yeah.
Be optimistic.
You're definitely in love with donuts and bakes and cakes. And
As long as
those things, you found one true love at the moment, so I'm sure the second will sort of fall into place as well. So thank you everyone for your time and attention today, and thank you to Anthony to come in and speak, and to the Year 10 business studies pupils. Thanks to Hara and Khaled for asking the questions. As always, thank you to Mrs. Hagan, careers manager here at King's Hawthorne's Leadership Academy in Bootle. And finally, and thanks to Jay as well for helping us record and create this episode. And we look forward to seeing you again in the future. Take care for now. Awesome.